I'm going to start the mains in this racket. I'm going to string this racket with one piece of string, and I'm going to use an around the world pattern. When I do that, I'll use 7 racket lengths for the short side, and the rest of it goes on the long side. And I'll run in as many mains as I can, and right now that gave me the ability to run all my mains in. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull tension on the first 2 center mains. Okay, I've already got my clamps adjusted for this 17 gauge string. I'm going to clamp down the string with my fixed machine clamp and use a starting clamp on the outside of the frame. Both of these clamps, the starting clamp and the fixed clamp, is on the string on my right, which is the left side of the racket. Now I'm going to pull the first right main, and I'll clamp it with a machine clamp again. Then I'm going to pull the second right main, and I'm actually going to pull 3 different mains on the right side of the racket before I switch over to the left side of the racket. Okay, this will be my 3rd right main. And I'm going to stop at this point and switch over to the left side of the racket. When I go back to the left side of the racket, I'll pull the first left main, remove my starting clamp, and then I'll pull 3 more strings on the left side of the racket, which will put me 1 string ahead on the. I'll switch back and do 2 on the right side, 2 on the left, 2 on the right, 2 on the left, until I get all the mains ran in that I'm going to be running in. Here's an area that gives some people a little bit of problem when they first start stringing tennis rackets. Right here I'm running my main strings in, and this is my 6th main right here, and that 6th main is going into the 6th grommet hole. The pattern for this racket is a 16 main racket where I skip 7 and 9 in the head and also in the throat of the racket, and that's on both the left and right sides of the racket. So when I was running the main strings in, I skipped 7 in the throat, then I skipped 7 in the head, and my 7th string, which is this one right here, goes into the 8th grommet hole. Then I skipped the 9th grommet hole, and the 8th string goes in the 10th grommet hole. I'm stringing this racket now with an around the world pattern. And what I've done is I've taken the 7th main on the short side, and I'm holding that with a starting clamp on the outside of the frame. That same string right there I use to go down to run the outside main on the short side of the racket, or the left side of the racket, the bottom cross, the outside main on the right side of the racket, and the top 2 crosses. Okay, and then I'll finish that up when I get done. I've taken the long side now. My long side I ran the 7th main with, and then I come around and I run the 3rd cross. And I'm going to use this long side to go all the way down my racket to the 19th cross, which is the next to the last, and then I'll tie it off. I've finished stringing this racket now. I don't have tension on all the strings yet, but I've got all the strings ran in. What I've done again is I've used an around the world pattern that I came up with to string this tennis racket. And normally when you use an around the world pattern, you'll take the long side string, or excuse me, you'll take the short side string and tie it off when you first start stringing. Then you'll take the long side and you'll string all your crosses, and then you'll finish up at some point going around the world with the long side of the string. When you do that, you have a lot more string on your long side. This is all I had left on the long side, which is maybe about 3 feet. But when you're doing the regular around the world pattern with the long side, you're running a lot more strings through the mains, and it takes you longer to run them through there or pull them through there. Plus it puts a lot more friction on your strings. what I do is I use the short side to do my around the world pattern, but I don't pull tension on any of those strings until I get all my crosses ran in. Then I'll come back and although I've got the strings ran in, there's no tension on them. All I have to do is pull them all through, pull tension on them, and I'm done. When you use the long side to run your around the world pattern, you'll end up blocking holes, you'll have hard weaves, and you'll have a lot more string to work with. That's why I like this short pattern a lot better. Okay, I've pulled all my strings through and tensioned all of them at the top cross, which is the one I'm tensioning right now, and I'm done. The last string I tie off is this top cross. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, just make a comment on my page there, and I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. Thank you for your time, and have a nice day, and I hope you enjoy stringing your tennis rackets.